Yellowstone National Park has some of the world's most famous natural wonders, including the Old Faithful Geyser, drawing millions of visitors a year. Less well promoted are the stories of Native Americans, who archaeologists say lived in this area for at least 11,000 years. When Yellowstone was designated a national park, the Native American tribes were chased out. The history of the park focused on the white people exploration. Now, for the first time in 150 years, teepees were erected in the park, and the first people of the land are telling their own stories. Anniversary celebrations include cultural events and public gatherings exploring American Indians' history with the park. The tribe's forceful removal began in the late 19th century. The family of Shoshone Bannock elder Winona Tindur was one of the last to be pushed out.
My grandma told me not to come here. She told me not to be speaking about these things because it's a bad memory for her when she got herded from her homeland that way. And it's very emotional, because this was her homeland. She was told to leave and never come back. And she never did come back.
Blackfeet attorney and artist Evan Thompson shows tribes using courts to reassert their traditional hunting rights in an art form developed by native artists reusing discarded paper.
So ledger art is what I would call a semi-traditional form of Plains Indian art. Historically, men would leave a war record by painting it on hide, often on teepees or on war shirts. And so with the introduction of reservations and the disappearance of the buffalo, hide becomes very scarce. And so people would go to the forts and other places to get paper to leave this record, their personal historical record for their families on.
At the celebration, Muskogee soprano Kirsten Kunkel debuted her composition Reclaim the Land.
Obviously, people aren't going to inhabit Yellowstone again. It is a national park, but we want the cultures known. We want people to acknowledge the tribes that were once inhabiting this land, and throughout the entirety of America. That we're not just reservations, we're not just casinos, we're not just powwows. We have deep cultural heritages, and we have many, many things that are vitally important to us.
Northern Arapaho and Northern Paiute artist Patty Valdez brought to life bison sculpted from willow branches with pairs of dancers from different tribes, including mothers and daughters.
And for a lot of years I didn't know how to feel, because it's kind of either a tourist or a museum where I can't touch anything, and it's really important that my peers, the people that are from this land, walk on it with confidence and take up the space that they should in a way that they're proud of.
Park Superintendent Kemp Shawley says no one can tell the story as well as the people whose ancestors lived it.
They were on this landscape long before Yellowstone was a national park, and we've done a significant amount of engagement, especially in the year leading into the 150th, with all of our affiliated tribes to have them help us do a better job. The Park Service has a duty to tell America's history, the good and the bad.
Shawley says it's important that this engagement on the park's anniversary is not a one-time thing, but a reset point to do more and more with tribal nations in the future. Natasha Mozgovaya, VOA News, Yellowstone National Park.